Credit cards usually get a bad rap, but what if you could be leveraging them for good in your life? I said that. I think credit cards are great for so many reasons, and I would rather talk about that and how you can use credit than all the bad things that can happen or all the bad reasons that you should not ever use credit cards. In this video, I'll be sharing with you how to use credit cards to your advantage. Second, I want to talk about how to avoid common mistakes that make credit cards less scary so you can feel like you're really owning that conversation and the choices that you're making. Credit card debt is not a horrible thing, and it's been treated that way, which just piles on the shame and the guilt of the decisions that you're making in your life. I want to neutralize that conversation. I want to take it down a notch. And I want you to hear, right now, that wherever you're at financially, it's going to be okay. And you can change, fix, move, shake, whatever it is that you want in your financial life. And I want to teach you how to do that in my world. Let me tell you a story about Valerie. Valerie was a client of mine who came to me who had no credit, not even a 300 or 350, like nothing popped up. And that's because she went through a bankruptcy, but she never reestablished her credit. Because she has no credit score, she had gone through a breakup and she needed to get into an apartment with her daughter. And she couldn't do that because she had no established credit. Are there other ways for you to be able to get living environments? Yes, one of those is bank statements, but not everybody does that. There's lots of ways to accomplish the goals that you have. But for most people in America, having a healthy credit score is one of the ways you're going to get where you want to go faster. In an ideal world, an ideal situation where someone's making plenty of money that they can save for a car, or they can save up enough money to be able to secure a property on their own without having credit, maybe that makes sense. But again, for the majority of Americans, the fastest way to be able to move forward is having healthy credit so that you can qualify for the things that you qualify for. She felt really stuck, and she was. And this is dangerous territory for women, in my opinion, because if you have a joint checking account with your significant other and all of your money is connected to your significant other, if you're trying to leave that relationship, what do? You have no credit score. You have no access to credit, no ability to even take on debt. How do you get out of that relationship? And for this client, that was a very real and tangible conversation that we were having because she didn't have 6 months or a year to save up for what she needed to. And I can already know that someone's watching this video right here in this moment and you're judging me for what I'm saying and you're judging this other person. Well, how could she not have what she needs? Listen, as a money coach and financial expert, everybody's on their own financial journey and everybody has their own financial set points. The judgment conversation around debt has got to end right now. So what did we do with this client? Well, the first thing we did was we had her take out a secured credit card. Secured credit cards are great tools. They are great starting points for even teenagers who are looking to establish credit. With a secured credit card, you have to pay a certain amount up front. She started to do that. And over the course of a few months, she started to establish a credit score. That was really instrumental for her to be able to leverage her way to the next level in life and to have some freedom and independence that she desperately needed. This story about my client is so important and one of the top reasons why I think women and men, we should not be avoiding the credit card conversation altogether. It's too Puritan and there is no one-size-fits-all approach to money. One of the other reasons why I think this is an important conversation to have today is that nobody has a crystal ball in their life. You might think that you have all the chips stacked in the right direction for your life, and it takes one event for you to be caught off guard. So just be careful when you're thinking about credit cards. And here's another thing. Stop judging other people for how they're managing their money. It's hurting us in this planet. Everybody judging each other for all kinds of reasons. I'm all about loving people, meeting them where they're at, and helping them get the help and the support that they need to level up in life. If you are here and that is not your mission, you're welcome to leave my channel. So let's talk about all of the positive ways that you can use credit cards to love your life. The first one, no surprise, rewards and points. Selecting cards that align with your spending and your priority is important in this way. There are lots of different kinds of reward programs. Travel rewards is a big one for my clients, especially clients who travel a lot. who have family out of town who fly for business, travel rewards can be really, really helpful in booking flights. I have a client that lives in Florida, and she typically doesn't love spending money, but she has no problem spending her points and her rewards on travel. It's a great way for her and her family of 5 to be able to take vacations. They've done that really, really well. Cash back. I love me some cash back. The way I look at it is free money. I have a Capital One Spark card for my business. And so when that cash back accumulates, I love rewarding myself with something, maybe some new clothes or something that I've needed or wanted, but just haven't wanted to buy or spend my own money on. I let those cash back points accumulate, and then it's green light once I get to a certain point. One of my favorite guilty pleasures for a long time was Stitch Fix. And so I let my Capital One Spark card get up to a certain point where I knew I could buy a whole outfit on Stitch Fix. Win-win for me. Points and discounts are another way that you can use your credit card. So there's travel rewards specifically where you can use those rewards to book hotels and airfare and cars, even if you want to rent a car. Points and discounts are another way. There's lots of incentive programs. I have an Amex card for my business, and there's lots of rewards and ways that I can use my points that are not travel related and are not cash back specifically. And then also there's gas rewards. There are specific gas rewards cards. When those gas prices go up, those gas reward points are pretty great. What's most important about rewards and points? First point, if you are carrying a balance on your card, and then you're wanting to use points, they basically cancel each other out. I have a client who lives in Florida who has a Costco card. He loves his Costco card, but he's constantly accumulating a balance on that card, paying 22, 23% in interest. Why does he do that? Because he gets Costco points. And I've tried to explain to him over and over again, listen, you are accumulating 22% interest on this card. The points that you get are a wash. You're not going to be able to accumulate enough points to be able to wipe out that interest rate. So with rewards cards, with points cards, with any credit cards you're using, if you're carrying a balance, the points at some point are null and void because you're paying interest on that card. Think through that really carefully before you decide to accumulate debt onto that card and not pay it off. Make sure if you do not want to pay interest on those cards that you pay them off before the end date, before the statement date. So let's say that the closing date of the card is February 3rd. That card would need to be paid off in full before February 3rd in order for you to not accumulate interest on the card. Paying the card balance in full once it's posted does not save you interest. You actually accumulate interest on what's been posted to that account by that date. So let's say that you've got $2,000 on the card, February 3rd. The card statement closes. They send you a statement. You owe $2,000. You're also going to owe interest on top of that $2,000. So if you're going to be savvy with credit cards, make sure that you know how to play the game so that you can maximize the points and not pay more than you need to in interest on the cards. I teach my 3-account system where I teach my clients, and I implement this system myself in my household, where we have a main account, which is our operating account. And then we have a spending account where we move money over to every single week into the spending account. Some of my clients will come to me and ask me if they can use a credit card for their spending instead of a spending account. This is something that you want to be really, really mindful of, because with credit cards, unless you're using something like a secured card that has a balance of maybe $300 or $500 available, you can only get to that point before you max out on the card. It's hard to keep track of your spending when you have a $5,000 limit. Let's just be honest. And for some of you, that's how you've gotten into debt. You use it as your spending card, but then it just keeps going and going and going, and you can't keep a pulse on it. So for those of you who want to use a credit card as a spending card, you still need to have a spending account. And here's how you use the two in tandem with each other. Make sure you're still moving money over to your spending account. And the easiest way to stay on top of what you're charging to your card is link the two accounts. So you have your credit card that you spend on because you want points and the benefits of the card. I totally get that. Move the cash over to a spending account. When you charge on the card, pay it off with your spending account money. You can do that the same day. That's how I do it. So if I make a choice to use my credit card, I just go in and I make a payment from my spending account, and I'm still managing my money in my spending account. So I know what I have in any given moment, and that's really helpful. Here's the second tip. Credit cards are great and very helpful for you to build credit. Having one credit card to start off, charging it, paying it off, charging it, paying it off, charging it, paying it off over time gives you a good history with credit and also helps you build your credit score. Having a simple foundation, having a spending account set up, having a savings account setting up, using my stop budgeting system all together will help you keep a handle on your credit card debt while you're building your credit. Just some cautions out there. Credit card interest is as high as it's ever been. Your interest rates can go up without them letting you know also. I've had clients have interest rates as high as 29.99%. So just remember that if you're charging something to your credit card and then you're not paying it off in that billing cycle and it goes on to the next billing cycle, if something costs you $10, you're paying $2.99 on top of that $10 because that's 29%. Be mindful of how you're using the cards and make sure you're paying them off before the ending of the billing period. That'll keep you from having to pay interest on the card. If you're looking for more information about how to use credit cards responsibly and what it all means, I would invite you to check out my Debt Eliminator course. I go into much more detail about how to use credit cards and also how to make sure that you have what you need when you're trying to improve your credit or apply for things like a mortgage or a car loan. Another reason I love credit cards is because it amplifies your buying power. Having buying power is really important in our world today, and I love some of the features that credit cards offer. One of them is 0%. You can make a large purchase and pay it back over time for 0%. If you're in a cycle of needing to pay off some debt, you can move some debt onto a 0% credit card. Now, just be mindful with 0% credit cards. These companies know what they're doing. They're offering you this promotional rate for 12 months or 18 months, but they are betting on the fact that you're not going to have that all paid off in the promotional time. So what happens if you don't pay it back within the promotional period? Whatever balance you have left, they tack on the interest. So take advantage of those 0% cards. Some people call it the 0% game, where they roll one 0% onto another 0% to avoid paying interest. But make sure that you have a strategy and you have a really clear reason for taking on an offer like a 0%. Credit cards are great for travel. And I have a lot of clients who like to travel out of the country or anywhere for that matter, because a lot of credit cards have international purchasing where you're not getting charged all of those foreign transaction fees. So some credit cards minimize those foreign transaction fees. Take a look. If you like to travel and you have plans to go out of the country, you can use a credit card that has specific travel rewards for international travel, and that helps mitigate some of the charges that you could be incurring by using a debit card or something abroad. Finally, I love credit cards because they are great for emergencies. If you have an emergency, for example, in my household, we have money put aside and tucked away into other accounts that are not in my immediate checking account. So I've got savings accounts in my Charles Schwab account. I bank at Wells Fargo. I carry my credit cards with me. And in my Wells Fargo account, I don't always have a large balance available on my debit card if something were to come up. If my car broke down or someone needed something in my household in a pinch. This is a good example, actually. My son had his wisdom teeth pulled, and they didn't tell us how much it was going to be until the night before. Well, I have cash over at Charles Schwab, but it wasn't readily available to me. It would have taken me a couple of days to get the money back over from Charles Schwab, so I was able to put it on my Amex card. It was like $1,200, and then transfer the Charles Schwab money over and pay the Amex card off. Also, sadly, we know that people like to steal our information, and credit cards are really, really good at taking care of you if someone was to try to use your credit card somewhere and it's not your purchase. They have a lot of protection in place. I would much rather have somebody charge onto one of my credit cards and try to steal from me that way than right out of my bank account and take my cash. I hope that you learned some things today, and also you got some fresh perspectives about using credit cards and some savvy ways that you can use credit cards. Stick with me. I've got another video coming up about how you can stay out of debt, how you can get out of debt. I want to open up this conversation for you. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.